Mujevali. My name is Bonny Kibuuka and welcome to another episode of the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. Welcome once again on the Ugandan Boy Talk Show with your boy Bonny Kibuuka. It's very exciting to be here on the show. I want to thank everybody that has been with me since day one. It wasn't the day I started this podcast. I didn't know where I was going with it. I just fell in love. Like I told you from the beginning, like I love telling stories. I love listening to stories. So I just, out of the blue, I just started a podcast. And I've been having a lot of people coming on here, share their stories, talk about different things. So, but I'm excited to be here today. I don't have any guests today. So today it's a one-man show, but I like days like this because on these days I get to interact with the listeners. I tell you a little bit more of what's going on in my life, what's going on in the podcast. But I'm really happy. I'm happy, excited about people showing me love and just supporting and encouraging, seeing the feedback. People who have ordered my merchandise like t-shirts, hoodies, and I'm pleased to rock one of the hoodies from Uganda. It got to me, but people in Uganda have ordered these hoodies, and if you've not ordered your hoodie, go to Leah's collection opposite CPS. I'll have the information in the link description of this episode. But yeah, and the phone number, go to the location. They'll hook you up with a hoodie. And if you want to pre-order the t-shirts, we're taking the pre-order of the t-shirts. So if you want a t-shirt, just let me know or call that number and place your order of the t-shirt. The hoodies are almost out of stock, but go there today and receive your own. And the other people who are all over the world, we have our online shopping where you can order your merchandise online. We have stickers you can put on your car. We have t-shirts, we have tank tops, we have hoodies, anything. Like if you want to support, and if you're saying all the hoodies expensive, we have the stickers which you can order. But yeah, I'm so happy and excited for all of you that have showed me the love, all of you that have supported me as we keep going. Got off work today and I was like, let me go talk to my people, and I'm so excited for the next episodes that are coming. I'm thinking of hosting some of my college friends. I have a topic that I really want to talk about with some of my college friends, and we're gonna have a panel of like 5 guys talk about a topic. I call this topic college is a scam. And I don't know where I fall, but like we'll digest these things and talk about them, like what people think about college, or like do they think their money get cheated when they go to college? Do you think like somebody has to go to college, or do you think not everybody has to go to college? But this is an exciting topic, and for all those college friends, people who have gone to college, people who have not gone to college, this will be an exciting topic. I'm also planning to host a few organizations in Uganda, like one of my friends, they're helping kids with autism in Uganda, and that would be interesting to hear the stories. And as you know, the motto I named this podcast is "We rise by lifting each other." So I want to bring all the people who I need, who have stories, people who have gone through different things, to come on the podcast and talk about their lives, so other people can hear what somebody has gone through, and maybe that will help them. And so yeah, I'll bring them. And there's another, he was my teacher, Mr. Walusimbi, and he's also helping kids with autism with an organization called Mountain Olive. He's the CEO of the organization, and I want to host him to tell us some of the stories of what kids with autism in Uganda go through. And like people who have worked with kids with autism, you know what they struggle with, and what could that look like in a third world country like kids where parents think that they were cursed because they have a kid with autism. Like, these are some stories that I would really love to have on the podcast, and they'll be interesting for people to listen to. So I'm excited for all those, but generally I'm just happy to be here. Happy about the episodes that I released, and people, you've listened on all of them, and the guests that I've hosted, the guests that are yet to come. And today I'm just going to talk about one of the listeners, Faisal. He sent me a text, and he has love for aviation, and he was like, can you talk about how you went to the US and how you ended up in aviation? So this episode is going to be how I ended up in aviation in the United States. Like, how did I even come here? And for some people who have listened to my earlier episodes, I talk about how I ended up in the United States, like how I came to the US, and it wasn't that easy. It wasn't that easy move. Like, can you imagine like leaving your family 8,000 miles away and move to another country? So it wasn't easy. But not only that, I mean, growing up in poverty and having this opportunity to go and study, it wasn't all about leaving your family 8,000 miles away. Because once you grow up in Uganda, once you turn like 18 years old, so you're an adult, you start thinking about your life. You don't think about, I mean, you love your family, but you start thinking about how are you going to better yourself. So it's more of how are you going to improve your life or get your life better, other than staying home asking for your dad to give you $1, to give you money for anything. Like, it's all about you developing yourself because you're an adult. And I left my home, I left my parents when I was 18 years old, and I talk about this in the earlier episodes, how I ended up at a parking lot in Wakiso. It was called Prime Day and Night Parking. I was the manager of that parking. So I'll send a shout out to my first boss, Dr. Samson Sempasa, who hired me at the age of 18 to be a manager at the parking. So that's how I started my life, to develop my life when I left my parents' home then. But I won't go into a lot of details of the past, because the earlier episodes I talk about myself and my family, but I'll go straight to the point of Faisal, that he asked me how I did the aviation. But like most of you know, it's not easy to move from a third world country to go to countries like America, like first world countries. It's hard. I mean, for some people it might be easy, and there are some people who will tell you, oh, I went to America, no issues, it was just easy. Probably if they already had family here, or if they had somebody, like, it's not easy. And many people can testify that have tried and they haven't got that opportunity to come here. But from that job that I got when I was 18 years old, that's when doors opened for me to see what I wanted to do with my life. And my uncle asked me that question, and I told him I wanted to do aviation because I always wondered how those airplanes get up there in the sky. And like, I saw them, and most of the kids in Uganda, or people you remember in Uganda, when we used to say, bye Museveni, bye Museveni. So like, we would think like it's the president flying in every airplane we saw up. Like, even if one just passed a minute ago and you see another one, you just say bye Museveni, thinking like it's only Museveni traveling in both of those airplanes that just passed in a short period of time, because that's all we knew, like the president is the one flying in the airplane. So as a young boy, I always had that in my mind, like, how does that thing get up there? And I wanted to know how the airplane works. Actually, I wanted to fly the airplane so bad, but at that time Uganda didn't even have any airplanes. But not only that, I told you, growing up in a Christian home, my mom used to teach us about people who are serving God in different countries, and that And I found out that there's some people who serve God through flying airplanes. And I was like, how do they do that? And I started being so like anxious, or like I started being like wanting to know more about these airplanes. And I developed a love for aviation. A long story short, I went through the visa, and I think I should talk about this more because a lot of kids in Uganda wonder, how did you go through the visa? But I didn't know anybody that had got a student visa to go study in America at the time when I applied. So everything I did was just from research and just going online on the internet. I didn't have anybody in my family to ask, because I don't think I've had anybody in my family coming here for school. So I just knew what I wanted and just chased the dream. Every morning I would wake up, go to Kampala, and try to find paperwork for all the requirements to the school. So the first step that you would do if there is a child in Uganda that wants to come study in the US, or they have a dream they want to achieve, I went online and I looked for schools that teach aviation in America. Actually, my uncle was like, oh, you can look at schools in America that teach aviation. So the first, I was like, no, I can't go to America. So we tried South Africa, because there's some aviation schools in South Africa that teach aviation. But because I think US would be one of the best aviation schools, because there's a lot of kids that come all over the world to come and study aviation in the US. So I canceled the plans for South Africa and decided to apply in the US. And at that time, the embassy would tell you, oh, you need to apply to like 5 schools. So I wanted, they know that you're interested. I didn't have the kind of money to go and just apply to all different 5 schools. I just applied to one school, and that was Aerozim Flight Academy. I don't think it's called Aerozim at this time. I think the name has changed, but I applied to that school, and I was applying to go for their pilot program. I wanted to fly. But when I came to the US, okay, I'll talk about the process. So I applied to the school, and they send you a list of requirements. So like, for you to be able to get your I-20. An I-20 is a document that shows you are a student, or like a non-immigrant student in the United States. So that is like your passport in the US, like shows you're here for school. So in order to get that, you have to provide all the requirements for the school, because they need those. And you have to send your documents. Some of the schools require a TOEFL test, English as a second language, a test of English as a second language. So I had to do that. And at the time, I took my test at Forest Mall. And the school has like a percentage of the score that you have to get. And you had to get 80% for you to be able to pass that test. And that wasn't easy, because if you're not familiar with the American accent, it's going to be hard for you to listen. So my listening wasn't very good, and that gave me the hardest time. I had to do that twice, and I think that test was like $200. But on top of that, you also have to send your transcript to an organization called World Education Service, which is in New York. And I had to go to UNEB, the Uganda National Examination Board, and get a transfer or something like that. I think it's called a transfer. You had to pay like $70,000 for each one of them. So they print out another paper that they email. No, like you have to mail that paper to World Education Service. And the first time I did it wrong, I mailed that from myself, like from Bonny to World Education Service. But what they want is UNEB itself to mail that to them, because they're thinking like they don't want any fraud or like you're cheating. So they want it from the organization. So the first time I sent it, they returned it back and canceled that. So I had to do it again. So what they do is when you send those results, they convert them into their American system. So when they convert them in American system, then they know where you are at that time. But from my results, when they converted them to the American system, it was like second semester of undergraduate. So when you do like HSC or A level, advanced secondary in Uganda, so that's the equivalent to 2 semesters of undergraduate, I think, from what they told me. So yeah, I had to do that, and then you send them a copy of your passport. They required some health insurance or something. I didn't do that because I didn't know any of it. I was like, well, we'll take care of that when I get there. I think that was it. That's the main things that you had, and then you had to prepare for the interview. Now, when you go to the embassy, what I did was to go online and look at the questions like they ask. I typed interview questions for a foreign student or F1 student, or when you're going to the US for school. So those questions, they give you a hint on what they ask, but they might not ask you those same questions. So like when I went to the embassy, what they asked me was, why do you want to go study aviation? And you have to know why. Like, it's not something made up. So they make sure that it's what you want to do. Like, so you have to be prepared by the time you go to the consul. When you show signs of like you're not sure of what you're talking about, that's a minus on. So basically, they base on how confident you are and knowing what you're talking about. So yeah, those are the steps I did, and that part I wouldn't tell you. I can't say it was any of my power. That was God. That was God's hands. Like, I can't tell you like this is what I need to do that, or this is what I need to do this. But once I entered the embassy, I was like, God, this is you from here. So it was all God that took care of that. Wasn't anything, but what I told you is I prepared for the questions, like some of the questions I'll ask, and you have to know your whole story, like how you did everything, and that gives you a plus on those questions. But going into aviation, so when I came to America, that school canceled my enrollment, so I went to Alabama, like I said in my earlier episodes, but after a long time, I ended up getting accepted in the School of Missionary Aviation Technology. Is located in Ionia, Michigan, and they basically train people who want to go and serve in ministry, like be missionaries, fly airplanes. I've mentioned earlier that how people fly airplanes to go serve or serve God in different areas of the world. I have a lot of friends that are working in that at the moment. But they also train people who want to go to airlines, like people who want to work for airlines. But their main goal is a School of Missionary Aviation, and that's the name of the school. They prepare people to go and serve. So if you're out there and you love aviation and that's something you want to do, you might want to look into that. And it's a pretty good school. They help you. They help me in everything. I had never seen an airplane, but they train you from zero to then land that. So like when I came to the US, I found out that flying the airplane was a little expensive. So my the maintenance director at the time talked to me about maintenance, fixing airplanes and being a mechanic. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that. I didn't know anything about an airplane. The only plane I had been in that time was the one that brought me from Uganda to the US. So I didn't know what a propeller was. I didn't know anything. So the first day we sit in class and I don't know anything, but that school, they work with you one-on-one. It's not a large number of kids, so that's somewhere you're going to go and learn. And I left that school like I had learned a lot of things that I didn't even know. And it was a period of 1 year. In 1 year, they teach you a whole package curriculum of aviation. So something you might want to look into, saves you time. And at the end of the course, you have your certificate, or you're certified as an aircraft mechanic, and then it opens up doors. So I went there for a year, and they taught me turbine engines, and then we did the propeller engines. We did an engine overhaul as one of the tests, or one of the work you have to do for like a big test. So we had to do an engine overhaul, disassemble an engine and then put it back together, and then you have to install it on the aircraft and the engine has to run. So that was one of the big projects that we did, and I remember I did that with my friend Zach and Max. I'll never forget. I struggled, I really did, but like I told you, it's a good school, and I'm gonna put a link to their website for all my friends in Uganda that have asked me about aviation. And so, like, you know my story, I told you in the earlier episode. If you've not listened to it, you can go back. It's more detailed and step by step on how everything happened. I really want to use this career to serve and work for an organization, a Christian organization, either as a mechanic. I think I'll be a mechanic for now, but that's where I want to go, and just use that to serve other people, or in any way that God wants me to serve, because it's Him who has done everything in me. But like I said, even if you're interested in just being a mechanic to work on airlines, it's a good school for that. And there are many other schools, like if you're not interested in the School of Mission Aviation, which I think for me is a plus, and I'll recommend that, because like studying in 1 year and getting your certification, and like it's not that it's pressure, you learn. I had also other issues like leaving school, but they helped me to stay on track and finish getting my license. So all of you, my friends in Uganda that have asked me about aviation, and right now I work in engine overhaul. We rebuild engines like the Boeing 747, 767 and 777, those big aircraft. So I work in rebuilding those and assembling them, and it's one of the few shops or like maintenance plants in the US where I work, and we rebuild all those. And like I said, I'm still getting experience, because after I finished my flight school, I went back to college and I didn't use my license for a long time. So right now I'm building back my experience with that, and in the future maybe God will open a door somewhere to go and serve Him. But yeah, I would love to talk to all the kids in Uganda that would love to do aviation. It's something possible. That nobody lied to you that you can make it. But long story short, Faisal, that's how I came to the United States, and that's how I started doing aviation. And I would love to continue talking to you about it, and helping you where I don't know everything, but at least I've gone through some of the things that I can sit down and talk to you about. But yeah, that's very exciting, and I like things like this, that some of my listeners would just shoot you a text like, hey, next time would you talk about this? And if you have anything that you want me to talk about on the next episode, just shoot me a text. I'll find some time and talk about that and address. But I want to thank everybody. Thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting me, and thank you for being there, and help me share this podcast on your social media with a friend. It can help somebody. Some of the stories we talk about, people are going through these things, and if you help me share these, that will be a plus. And just spread the word, spread the love, and show everybody love. Shout outs to my dad, my mom, everybody that's listening. Shout out to Quex, the lyrical doctor. He helps me share my podcast and everything that I have on there. The singer of Kachumbali, and check out his latest song, Vibe Kute. Quex, the lyrical doctor. Check out his music, Kachumbali, Vibe Kute. He has a lot of songs, so shout out to you, my guy. Thank you very much for your love and support, and keep listening to the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. All the episodes that I have, check them out and share them. Don't forget to order a Ugandan Boy Talk Show hoodie. Check out Layers Collection in Kampala. I'm gonna put their phone number, so show me some love and show me some support. Thank you very much. May God bless you. Bye bye. Peace out.
Hey there, I am Bonny Kibuuka, the host of the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. Thanks for watching my video and don't forget to hit subscribe and share with a friend. Tune in every Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time for a new episode about my podcast. And for more information about this podcast, follow me on my Instagram page, talk_show_256.